All right, we are recording. Okay, so nod if everybody can still hear me. We're still good so far. All right, awesome. Okay, give me 1 second here. I want to share my screen. We might be having some technology issues. All right, there we go. All right, can you guys see my screen? Am I sharing okay? Okay, great. All right, perfect. So first, I just wanted to welcome everybody to the call. Thank you so much for putting it in your calendar and committing to be on. LiveFULLy has been a long time in the making, and so it's exciting to be really, kicking it off after having been thinking about it for a long time and talking about it, for a long time. So our passion and our mission is in the group. So if you guys have been participating in the LiveFULLy group on Facebook, you've probably seen this in the pinned post, but I just wanted to put it up again and just kind of, quickly go over really who we are and kind of how the group got started. But it really is just a group that after, having gone through gastric bypass surgery myself and also, been up and down with my weight pretty much my entire adult life, with Isagenix, I was able to lose weight that I had put back on after having lost 100 pounds with gastric bypass surgery. And then as I started to get involved with the business of Isagenix, began to have a lot more conversations and attracting people into my life, and people who found out that I had surgery and that were also, coaching people that were considering Isagenix or even considering weight loss surgery, just kind of calling me up and saying, hey, Chris, I have a friend, can you get on the phone and talk to them because I don't know what to say. I don't know how to coach them. I don't know anything about, gastric bypass surgery. And so I started doing a lot of these one-on-one calls with people and really just kind of, started vocalizing that there should really be a group, a support group for people that, have kind of a safe place, which is really, what the mission is about, is to have real open conversations where people feel safe to talk about what the issues are related to severe obesity and also, compulsive overeating. So it's something that I've struggled with my whole life and have by no means arrived. And so I wanted to, quickly go over, the group leaders, and I'm going to allow the group leaders to really tell their whole story in future calls. So the way that we kind of set up the structure for this group is that the leaders of LiveFULLy, we will be alternating as far as facilitating meetings and kind of coming up with topics. And so, thank you to anybody who's responded in the group. I did post a few weeks back that if you have any, requests or recommendations of topics that you would like to discuss, it's never too late to put that into the group and make suggestions. And so, if you have done that, thank you. We've definitely, added those to the list. And it'll be helpful as we go along, to be able to talk about issues that are, really concerning to you in the moment. But also feel free to do that in the future as well. If something comes up like, hey, I'd love to talk about that again, or something that's really heavy on your heart, happy to do that. So, I'm not going to go through everybody's story, but just wanted to quickly just kind of go through David Stark, who is on the call. Thank you so much for all of the support that you've given to me. So just for everybody's background, David and I have had many conversations about getting this group started, and all the way probably close to a year ago, we started kind of tossing the idea around, and just kind of kept, circling back with each other. So David actually chose not to have weight loss surgery, but has an incredible story that he'll be sharing on a future call. And then Morgan Bishop, and Joy Bishop. So Joy is actually Morgan's mom, and I think Casey Pluff is on the phone, and Casey's mom as well. And so they both have some amazing stories, but have been awesome as far as posting in the group and helping get everything organized. Allison Prenke has also had a couple of different weight loss surgeries. And so another person that, if anybody out there is considering having weight loss surgery, or maybe you already have and issues come up that regarding nutrition or specifically regarding isogenics and how that works with your surgery, I wanted to be able to put this up on the screen so that you know who the people are in the group, that you're, feel free to reach out anytime, any day. It doesn't have to be on a call, but that there are people available to chat about how we've used the products, and everybody has a different story. And so Jen Page, another member of the 100-Pound Club, and then Laura and Myron Hyman, who have just an unbelievable story between the two of them with their weight loss story. So I'm going to just kind of go into the topic for the night. Really the format for these calls is to talk for about, maybe 20 to 30 minutes about any, given topic that either the facilitator chooses, or maybe that, someone in the group recommends that we talk about. And then the last 10 or 15 minutes of the call, we'll open it up just for comments or questions. That's, kind of how we'll do it moving forward until further notice. So my name, I didn't even say it at the beginning, is Chris Drabenstadt, and I'm going to be leading tonight's discussion. And so what I wanted to talk about is this topic of worthiness, and kind of the overarching theme is really owning your full story. And the reason why I chose this is because personally, it's been quite a journey for me to, with, losing, being 100 pounds overweight, losing 100 pounds, gaining 50 back, losing it again. What I have found is that it's really not about the weight. And what I had just experienced my whole life of, feeling like my body defined me, and this extra weight that I was carrying created this overwhelming sense of unworthiness that in all areas of my life. So I started attracting relationships that were not good. And that, where I really was, I felt undeserving of love. And it's just started, I mean, God knows like how young I was when it started, but the book that I have up here, The Gifts of Imperfection, is actually one by Brene Brown. And it's a pretty powerful book. If any of you guys have read it, if you haven't, for sure read it. And we are, creating a recommended reading list for this group as well. So if you have other books, always put that into the group. We'll add it to the list. But The Gifts of Imperfection was a book that we were tasked to study for Lenny Evans' Follow Your Bliss retreat this past, I believe it was the one that was in October, that just passed. And it was pretty intense emotionally. For me, this idea of unworthiness was really coming from a place of weight. And I know that a lot of other people, there were other issues and, emotional issues in their lives that were related to this idea of, shame and guilt and self-love and being able to feel worthy of love from other people. But what I did is, when I thought about this topic, I went back to the book and just kind of started flipping through to see, well, what jumps out at me about this idea of, really digging deep and owning my story. Because I have to tell you, before I even get into my notes, I've been involved in isogenics for a little over a year now, and it wasn't until this past December that I actually was able to own my full story, because my before and after photos, my story that I put out there on isogenics was how I had lost 40 pounds in 4 months. And that is true. But my before photo was when I weighed 182 pounds, because I thought that I did not put my photo of when I weighed 240 pounds. That was just too much for me to own. And so it wasn't until this past December that I started thinking about, wow, I really should put photos up of what I looked like, what I felt like, what part of, that part of my life that was it was, 20 years that, I was close to that weight. And yet I've like seemed to kind of forget it and forgotten it, deleted it out of my mind. But I say this about owning a story because I want to be transparent. In our mission, we talk about having real discussions, and it's going to get really real on these calls. And so it's going to start with me. Because I think the power of actually healing and really learning to love yourself and feeling worthy of a healthy body and a healthy mind and healthy relationships is that we have to start with where we've come from, like the whole story, and not just part of it, burying the rest. And so, some of the photos that you've seen recently have had a lot of people respond on Facebook who have known me for a year and said, I've never seen your before photos, and meaning, the ones where I was 100 pounds overweight. And that's a little, I don't feel shame about that, but, I've kind of gone through that forgiveness process, but it's definitely something that, I had to kind of face up to that, that's a real part of my story. So this idea here about being enough has come up for me so many times in my life. I never feel like I'm good enough. And there's a degree of perfection that I think some of us get into because we're always trying to reach this level of being enough. And what I had written here in this book, of the gifts of imperfection, is kind of on the right side is where I started with, just being honest with myself. I was on the plane on my way to Follow Your Bliss, kind of rereading some parts of this book, in preparation for this personal development retreat. And I was being real with myself, and I was, you can see, like, I'm a chameleon. I trying to be somebody that other people are going to like and are attracted to. And, basically the way that I feel when I feel unworthy. And, then really trying to flip the script and over to the left, that arrow saying, okay, if we're moving toward worthiness and love and belonging, the paragraph on the side, I know what love is. And so this was really like an affirmation for me that I had written. I know what it is and I feel it. I'm accepted by the universe. I am enough. I am inside of my story instead of outside. And so this was really kind of a defining moment for me, where I really started to have that conversation with myself of, okay, we're going to need to stop running and hiding from, this past of yours, because in order to heal, it's something that has to be brought forward. Another thing that came out for me in this book was I'm worthy now. So this, you can see on the left, I was calling it the if-whens. So like, I'll be worthy if I do X, Y, Z, or when, I get to this point, when I lose this weight, or, there's a list of things here that she lists. And I, wrote at first, like, well, what are your if-whens, that this would be something that I could talk about. And then I was like, oh no, wait, what are mine? what are the list of things that I have not felt worthy unless, I look a certain way, unless all of these things. And again, you're like, it's not, they're not gone. So, this decision that we have to make is something that happens over and over. It's not like, at one time you just decide I'm healed and I don't feel these things anymore. All of a sudden I feel worthy and I love myself every single day. And like, no, it's at least it's not for me. And maybe that's different for some of you guys on the call, but I have found that it's something that I do over and over, because I've spent, 46. So I've spent 46 years beating myself up, and having these, I'll be worthy when, I'll be worthy if, and attracting those relationships, where, that's what I would get. And so this idea of really, it says, here's what's truly at the heart of wholeheartedness. And so this book she talks a lot about what it means to live wholeheartedly, which is part of our mission. So if you guys saw it at the very end, I didn't read it, word for word, but it's live fully, or love wholeheartedly and live fully. And so the way that you love wholeheartedly is like, first of all, she's saying like at the heart of this idea of wholeheartedness is that I am worthy now. I'm worthy if I'm 182 pounds. I'm worthy if I'm 240 pounds. I'm worthy if I'm 138 pounds. That is not what defines me. It's not who I am. And it's just taken me, it's only been a year that I've really kind of been diving into this personal development and finding ways to wake up and love myself no matter what, despite the if-whens, that looking at like, oh man, I think I've gained another 5 pounds back. I think I might have gained 10, and that feeling of panic, like, oh no, am I going in the other direction? But being able to look at a chubby belly and being like, it's okay. Like I'm in the process of taking care of that. And it was a crappy week, but you know what? I have next week, I have this week. And just kind of being in that state of, allowing myself to screw up and, but to love myself in the process. So, she talks about right at this minute as is. And so I, would just kind of put that challenge out there to everybody that's there for myself. And anything that I ever say on any of these calls, I'm talking to myself, probably more so than I am to any of you guys. But, just a challenge to think about, like, what areas do you feel unworthy, or when? Can you think of relationships that you're in where you don't feel worthy? Is it that person, or is it you, that really is kind of perpetuating this state of like, I'm not enough. Because when you believe that, it's really difficult to love yourself. Like when it's never enough, like you're constantly trying to please, and get into a different place that's all that you can never reach. It's always in the future. And so this truly, and I guess, pardon the profanity, but again, I told you guys, like, this is going to be real. This is exactly what happened to me on the plane, was when I read this paragraph, and I want to read it. It's also in the caption that I found online, but owning our story can be hard, but not nearly as difficult as spending our lives running from it. Embracing our vulnerabilities is risky, but not nearly as dangerous as giving up on love and belonging and joy, the experiences that make us the most vulnerable. Only when we are brave enough to explore the darkness will we discover the infinite power of our light. And I lost my shit on that paragraph. On the plane, I was sitting there, I probably was in a middle seat. It made it even worse. Like, I'm surrounded by people, and I'm like, don't do this right now. And I lost it. I started crying because what I had realized is that I'm on this way to this retreat, and, having been dealing with all of these emotional issues that, you have to go there. Brene Brown talks about digging deep, that you've got to get down in that darkness in order to find where the light is, because of the hiding. I've been like burying myself under this darkness like for so many years. And so the reason why it was such an aha for me is what I'll read in the highlighter. But it was really out of gratitude. So it wasn't tears and a breakdown of sadness or beating myself up. It truly was, I wrote to myself, thank you, Chris, for making the decision to take the journey that you came here to take, for not backing down, but rather standing 10 feet tall, scared as hell. Thank you, soul, for closing your eyes even tighter in the pitch dark, because you knew that you would have to go down way deeper to find that glimmer of light that you'd been burying your whole life. And it's, it chokes me up now, because it's hard. I mean, it's hard to go there, of years and years of the, shaming yourself and those emotions, you guys, are the lowest. If you guys know anything about emotions and vibrations, they're the lowest on the spectrum. Shame, guilt, fear, this unworthiness. It is low. And so when you feel that every day, and it's because of, when you look in the mirror that you feel these emotions about yourself, year after year after year, 10 years, 20 years, it's hard to go down there and like really face those emotions head on, and say like, enough. And what this paragraph said to me is that, it's going to be hard, but what's going to be a lot worse is if your life ended tomorrow and you didn't give it a shot to see what blessings would be on the other side. That if you could actually conquer the emotions that have been causing me to try to fill, if anybody's watched the pin post video that I did about, kind of getting this group started, I've struggled not only with overeating, but when I had gastric bypass and my stomach was so small that I couldn't fill it with food, I turned to alcohol because I numbed my emotions that way. That's the way I buried them. And then I had to get into AA because I couldn't stop drinking. And it's just, we all have those things that we turn to that really are these crutches, that keep us in this state of unworthiness. And the more we do that, the more we just truly do not take ownership of our full story. And I truly believe that having gone through, the ups and downs that I have in the past year and like really exploring personal development. And I just have to thank, Casey Pluff has just been the light of my life in the past year, just, just introducing me to, how do you start to get out of this darkness? The affirmations and books to read and meditating and like loving yourself, give yourself a break. Don't be so hard on yourself. It's, it's constant. And it's hard work, but if there was one message that I wanted to choose out of like a gajillion that I'm sure that we're all going to go through on these calls, is that, it's so important to embrace your whole story from the beginning, so that you can start to explore, when did this happen, why did it happen, who, where did this all begin? Because for me, it just became a snowball that over years and years and years of time and relationships and beating my head against a wall and eating and drinking and like all of these like destructive behaviors, you can't know where you're going unless you know where you started from. And, for me, like I said, I found it almost impossible to find photos of myself when I weighed 240 pounds. I had deleted all of them. I mean, like 20 years worth of photos, because when I had lost the weight from gastric bypass, I was like, I never want to see those photos again. Unworthiness, right? Like I thought that person was just not acceptable. And so like, let's get rid of that. We don't ever want those photos to resurface on Facebook, on Google, on anything. We're just going to pretend like she never happened. And guess what? An entire year of isogenics and personal development went by with me putting before and after photos where I was starting at 182, not 240, because that was like an acceptable place for me to start. And it's just not okay. And so in having conversations with more and more people that struggle with overeating and, having been severely overweight for a long time, and the emotional struggle that is behind that, and the things that we do, the behaviors, the way that people look at us, treat us, and like we feel that and we take it on and we own it. And the most important thing that I've learned is that like, that is not who God made Chris to be. I did that. I put on the extra weight because of stuff that I owned from myself and from, other people, but that's not who I am. Wayne Dyer talks about the word, inspired in spirit, and that we're a body, or we're a spirit inside of a body. Not a body, with a spirit. Like we're truly, this shell like means nothing. I mean, we need to take care of it because that's what we have to walk around in every day, right? Like we deserve to be in healthy bodies and be treating our bodies with the best nutrition, like to take the best care of it, because that's how we need to walk around in order to fulfill our purpose, our God-given gifts of being on this earth. We have to be healthy, but we don't have to be healthy because society says we have to look a certain way, or because I feel ashamed if I'm not. Like that is just not what it's about. So, I hope that, this is helpful to somebody else. And again, like I find it difficult to present on something that doesn't, affect me, that hasn't been part of my story, because I'm talking to myself. But the last thing that I wanted to say is to be brave, and to just kind of offer out to all of you that it is going to happen over and over and over, that we run into this darkness, that we have to say, oh God, there's that feeling again, that I did it again. I just, the negative self-talk, I just looked in the mirror and I just pointed out something, that I shouldn't have. And it's constant, like stop doing that, love yourself anyway. And so, the two main points, we must own the full story, the whole story, and then love ourselves through the process. And so this paragraph here, where Brene says, talking about herself, I had to dig very deep and make the conscious choice to believe in myself and the possibility of living a different life. A lot of questioning, countless tears, and a huge collection of joyful moments later, believing has helped me see. And so what I had done, and I think this because it's in that blue pen, I don't remember, but I think at the Follow Your Bliss retreat, this was something that one of the presenters had us do, is to cross out the word our and put my, and make it first person instead of third. And so reading that paragraph again, several months later, I now see how owning my story and loving myself through that process is the bravest thing that I will ever do. I now see that cultivating a wholehearted life is not like trying to reach a destination. It's like walking toward a star in the sky. I never really arrive, but I certainly know that, and I forgot to cross this one out, I'm heading in the right direction. And for me, that's what it's about. It's a daily I don't eat perfect today. I eat far from perfect. And anybody that knows me well knows that I have a box of bit of honey. That's still my crutch. That the sugar thing, I put it on a video on Facebook and said, I'm gonna kick this habit. Well, guess what? It hasn't happened yet. And so it is a choice to believe that we have the possibility to live a different life. It is there. And it's going to be there tomorrow, and it's going to be there the day after. And it is okay. Like the shame and the unworthiness has got to stop, because it's not who we are. It's not who we are in spirit. It is a lie. And I truly believe that we have to be able to go down deep into that darkness, look ourselves in the mirror, have like what I call the angry talk of saying enough is enough. Stop the cycle of the being mean to yourself, of overfeeding, of over medicating, of over drinking, of over analyzing, of over being like everything has to be perfect. I mean, there's a million ways to feel like we're just not ever enough right now. And so that's really the end of what I wanted to talk about today. I'm gonna stop sharing and come back to the gallery. And I think I did see a hand. I don't know if I know how to, I guess I think you guys do have the ability to unmute yourselves. If anybody has any questions or comments, let me go to the chat and see. Whoops. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to open it up. You guys, it's, we've gone for a little over a half an hour, and this was, kind of, what we talked about in the beginning is that I just want to open it up and have some discussion. And, I would ask, just because of the number of people that are on, if you can, keep it to just a few minutes, because we're going to have lots of calls and lots of time for everybody to talk, and let's get discussions going in the group as well. It doesn't just have to be when we have a call. We do have the calls scheduled for only every other Wednesday night, so every other week. If we need to increase that, we will, but just starting out, that's kind of what we thought might make sense. But I'm going to give everybody else the floor, and again, thank you to Casey for being such a light in my life and helping me to learn all of these, personal development, and it's a process. It's a day to day. And thank you to David and to all of the other LiveFULLy leaders. You guys are going to see there's some amazing stories that are going to be told over the course of the next, hopefully years. We'll keep this group going, but if it's a blessing to people. So enough of me. I guess just raise your hand or jump in. We'll do it that way. Okay, David.
Hey, Chris, I just wanted to say thank you. I was thinking back at that time that we met at Bliss and we were eating lunch together. Little did we know where we would be today, right? But one of the things my takeaway from just this call, I've got quite a bit, but the first one is that I can see from our call that my old story is valuable today. And the reason it's valuable is because I am worthy, and I'm worthy to share it with people. And what I wrote down was, live fully is my greatest gift I have to give. And with Isagenix has allowed me to be able to live fully in front of people that I would normally have hid behind or away from. And it's also given me a passion to be passionate with just this gift that we have and share it. And like you, I struggle with some of those foods. I don't eat perfectly, but I have a journey and I have a mission, and I know I'm on a plan. And this is the beautiful part. And that's just a comment I wanted to say. I wanted to say thank you, Chris, for putting this all together, and I'll leave it open to somebody else.
Thanks, David.
Hey, Chris.
Hi.
I too just want to say.
Oh, there you are. Hi. I was like, I can't see who's talking. Hi.
Okay. just say, thanks for all the hard work that you've done to put this together. Thank you for being so transparent tonight and sharing your story and making this just a safe place for people who do struggle. So I know you and I have talked a lot, and I know there's going to be lots of tears because this is something that is really hard for a lot of people. So I'm really excited going forward, and just excited for the group and just having a place where we can kind of all talk. And everything you said tonight is so relatable to me, and I know anyone who has struggled, because we really feel unworthy, and your weight has nothing to do with your worth. So I know that getting on here and sharing and being putting your story totally out there and your pictures and everything has been something that was challenging for you, but I know that it was probably helpful for you too, and I just really applaud you for having the courage to be okay with you and to share everything with us. So I love you, and I
love you so much.
Isogenics, just the people that you meet during in Isogenics, and I feel like I've known you forever, and it's only been probably like less than a year, like 6 months or so, but it's just wonderful. So thank you.
In another life, for sure.
Absolutely.
Anybody else? Oh, there's hands. Okay, Kathy. I see Kathy's hand.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah. Hi, Kathy.
Hey, how are you?
Good.
Yes, thank you so much for getting this started. And Morgan, I just wanted to say to you, is that your elevator speech?
Oh my goodness, the elevator. I got stuck in an elevator today. And it was so funny because before, I swear 2 years ago, I would have probably had a panic attack. I would have been going crazy. When I got out, I'd probably been yelling at people, but we just sat down and looked at each other and laughed and found the positives in the situation. And in 10 minutes, the doors were open, and it was fine. So it's just this personal growth stuff. It's just, where have you been for the last 30 years of my life?
Had I known.
Had I known.
That was funny, though. But I'm glad you're okay. And I've known Joy Bishop for a long, long time. I appreciate her inviting me to this, and Morgan invited me to this. Joy and I go way back as tennis partners before, years ago when we still played tennis. But I appreciate this group being here, and I did ask for some topics, so hopefully we will get around to those eventually, and that's fine. And Chris, I really enjoyed or appreciated your story, so I'm just glad to be here, and that's all I really wanted to say for now.
Thank you. Well, then thank you for all your posting and everything, participation in the group. I hope that we continue that. As a group, that it doesn't have to be on Wednesday nights. If something's going on, you're having a bad day, and we want to support each other all the time. So I appreciate seeing you in there and doing your posting.
Well, I'm trying not to be too negative, but at the same time, I'm trying to be real, because I am very ebb and flow and up and down right now. So just for some different reasons, but I'm hoping that I can get on a more balanced level ground at some point soon.
For sure. Ken, I see your hand up.
Do I have to unmute? I think I did.
Hey, Ken.
Hey, how are you?
Good, how are you?
You did great tonight.
Thanks.
Hey, what was the name?
You got to get out of the way.
What's that?
I said it's that first one you have to get out of the way.
Oh, you did awesome. You did awesome. What was the name of that book?
The Gifts of Imperfection, and her name's
Awesome.
Renee Brown.
I'm lining them up right now. I got a couple that I want to read. That sounds like a good one. Yeah. And I liked your epiphany slide. The one on the plane. Yeah, right?
That's what happened. And I just remember it so vividly. So yeah, I was just like, wow, like we got to do it. You just have to decide over and over, you know?
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Thank you for joining.
Awesome.
Anybody else?
Hey, Chris, can you hear me?
Hey, Katie.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm so glad that Casey woke me. Ken's downstairs in my house. And we were sitting there, and she was sending messages to both of us, and we're so glad we jumped on. That was a really, really good call. I just wanted to tell everybody that it was just recently that I found out that Chris had gastric bypass. We'd been roommates together, and we'd been like hanging out and having long conversations, and I never knew. And so it was really shocking to me, really. So, but it's also proof that you see the glory, you don't see the story. So people look at you, they look at me, they look at other people, and they see us at a place where we're having success, but they don't realize the pain underneath. So I love that you're sharing at this place now, because I do think that that raw connection with people is where you really are able to have those lasting friendships and actually really help someone. Because I never thought, I mean, it wouldn't have crossed my mind, because you wear a bikini and
you did a great job hiding. Good job.
You know what I mean? It's not something that I would guess about you, but I think that this is a really great idea. I think the group is fantastic. And I know you mentioned it to me, and that's how it came about. I said, what are you talking about? Gastric bypass. And you said the page, and you didn't know, but I didn't know. So I think that a lot of people probably don't know. So this will be.
I told you about it. You just didn't write it down.
If I don't have it like written down, it's like post-it to my head.
On your forehead.
Carved in there.
Well, and Katie, we look forward to your story.
I'm happy to share.
Because I know you've got an amazing story too.
Yeah, I think everybody does, but this group is very special. It's a sacred place to have people that have been to that really dark place physically, because we all share that common understanding that skinny people that were always skinny, that maybe only had to lose 10 pounds, they think they know, but they don't know. So I think it'll be really a positive, welcoming environment for people that are really overweight, like morbidly obese, the point where you're going to die. So it
is life or death.
It's either, I mean, your doctor, my doctor was telling me, you either get this off or you're dying. So that's when I was going to get the surgery too. So
yeah. And this is not, I mean, most of the people, as far as the leaders are concerned, and a lot of people on this call are obviously involved in Isagenix. This group is open to anyone. So if you have friends, family members that are struggling with these issues, it is not an Isagenix exclusive group. We will be talking about how to actually use Isagenix products. If you have had surgery, if the rules are different when you have 300 pounds to lose versus 20 pounds. So when you get your 30-day system, that's going to look a little bit different for you. And so we'll talk about coaching and how that nutrition, how we can make some adjustments so that you still get the amazing nutrition of Isagenix, but it's customized, it's tailored for you. And having had gastric bypass and then needing to lose weight that I had gained back, I still wasn't able to drink a full shake when I got my 30-day system. There's no way I could drink close to a gallon of water that my coach was advising that I do. And I was like, I will never be able to eat a morsel if I keep my stomach full of a gallon of water all day. Like, it's this big. And like the vitamin deficiencies that, after you've had bariatric surgery, you need more than just a regular vitamin. There's so many rules that I kind of tried to figure out on my own and finagled, and fortunately, it worked. And the nutrition was, I have a success story and I love it. And I've kept it off for a year. And so we're going to get, we will talk about isogenics nutrition, but if someone comes and says, look, I just want to be part of this support group, I need, some other people a place where I can come and listen and learn and talk and grow, like you do not by any means have to be involved with isogenics. So I'm glad that you brought that up about, the nutrition part of it, because those will be some of the topics of, what do you do? Where do you start? So I appreciate that.
Sure.
We'll get to that.
Yeah. Thank you.
I just want to say
Anybody
good
else?
job. Thank you for being vulnerable and
Hey,
sharing
Ben.
your story. Hi.
Hi.
Thanks for sharing. Oh my gosh. And I'm loving what's happening in the page. So thank you, because your commitment and David's commitment, and then jumping in with all the leaders and just saying, hey, let's do this. It's a great place, and it's been needed for a long time. So I'm excited. And yeah, like you, I totally understand that dark place. So it's really awesome to have a place that's somebody that wants to look at it differently. And, then I didn't really look at the fact that personal growth would change this, which could change all of this. So yeah, it's a big piece. So thank you.
Huge. The biggest piece.
Yes. Yes.
Well, thanks for being a part of it. I mean, obviously, we'll be hearing your story as a LiveFULLy leader down the road too. So that's exciting.
Yeah. Fun stuff. Yeah. Thank you. Awesome group.
Thanks.
It's so good to see so many faces I know and love.
That's right. Anyone else? Comments?
I'm really excited for this. Chris,
hey, Laura and Myron.
I gotta applaud you. You're amazing. And I thank you for sharing your story. And it's interesting because I've had a lot of people just recently, close family and friends, that have gone to the surgery. One just went in today. And I'm loving that I get to understand now. You're helping me understand that part of it. For me, I didn't know what to do. And isogenics, thank God, came along. And, 16 months later, there's 112 pounds gone.
Amazing.
And I've never felt this good. Never. I don't ever remember feeling healthy like this. So, but you're right. The personal development is huge, and support. And I think what we find with isogenics has this, I've never seen a support system work like this ever. And the people that have been in our lives, it's just, there's nothing like it. And there's no reason everybody shouldn't know. And I'm really excited that you've opened this up to not just isogenics, because I do plan on putting some people in here that need to hear this. Your family won't listen to you all the time, and your best friend won't always. It'll take the longest, and to have a community that gets it. And we all have our dark places, and there is light. There's light. And to be able to look at all these screens and see that there's huge light coming out of everybody, no matter what we have, what we do, what we go through today, tomorrow, it's okay. And I'm really excited about this. I thank you very much for including me, and David too. I had the privilege of walking stage with David at Celebration.
Awesome.
And we were next to each other, and it was the most amazing thing I've ever experienced. And I'm so glad that we're doing this, because everybody needs to know this works. And it takes work. Mm-hmm. And that's okay, because everything worth having takes work, no matter what it is. So I'm excited.
Well, thank you guys so much. I mean, like, you just came on like gangbusters and group and posting and before and now, and I'm like, who are these guys? Like, who are these California folks that just joined?
Well, you know what?
No, I mean, you're amazing, and I can't wait to hear your.
I didn't have anybody really inspire me, and I think all these inspirational things I do is, like you said, I'm talking to myself a lot of the times, you know, and it's fun being able to touch people. It's really fun. I mean, this is an amazing, amazing company, and they've given us so many things to do.
Believe with the before and hi Chris and David.
Hi.
Thanks again for inviting us to this awesome group. It's really amazing. But what I was saying with Laura, with these, these before and after pictures, we were very hesitant because you see our pictures, right? But like Laura said, we're never ever going to look like that again. So what are you worried about? What are you worried about? And even, my transformation, when we were in South Carolina, I showed Abby O'Neill, Start Group. And, I showed her the picture. I go, I'm not ready to show this one. She goes, you have to show that. You got to show that.
Yeah, not that one.
You got to show.
She called him out.
That one.
No, she called him
She
out.
called me out, and the next day I put it up. And you know what? If I could help people by showing my picture and showing that this could be done, because it can be done, and there is a light at the end of the tunnel, because all these lights that we're all at, it's one big light shining now. I mean, this thing, it's right on us right now. So if we're all showing people that this could be done, the whole world will be a happier place, believe me.
I agree. And it's like, what does it say if we don't accept ourselves in every situation, right? Loving ourselves through the process. What does that say about someone else who's going through the process that was at that point? Like that, I mean, we've been doing me and some other people have been doing some study on the chakra system, and the foundation, the root chakra of all is one. Like we're all one. So what does that say that if I can't accept myself, you know what I mean? Then I'm like, if I'm looking at someone else that's going through that same part of the process, like, would I not embrace them? No. Would I not encourage them? No. Then why don't I embrace myself? Like if that's not how I would treat someone else, then why do I treat myself like that? And I think that was just so powerful with Brene Brown's book about this worthiness, that you're worthy now. No matter where you are in the process, you could be back here. There was a light, Laura, that you talked about. Like there was a light that I had for 20 years. I just buried it. It was there. I just chose not to let it shine.
When we started, like our first month, each of us, we were like racehorses. We were 20 pounds, 22 pounds. We were like right there neck and neck. And our first month, our mind was just right on the money. We just saw results, and we thought nothing was going to stop us ever again. Nothing was ever going to stop us, and it hasn't. Every day is like, every minute's better. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And that's what I think.
Kudos. Because mine's like this.
Yeah, but we have to let this fuel us. The events, they fuel me. They fill me up. And I joke that we become kind of event junkies because we'll travel anywhere to go to one, and it's important. It's important to have this, to have a community. It's very important. Yeah. So I'm excited for the future, y'all.
Y'all. Yeah.
All right. Anybody else? I know we're coming up on 9:00. Anybody else have any parting words?
Yeah, Chris, I just wanted to say something. When Laura was talking, something came to mind. It was this culture creates family. And I was talking to Kelly, and I've, just the most amazing people are here with Isogenics. They've become my family. And sometimes, I'll be honest with you, they're closer than my family because you guys know more about me than some of my family, right? And the beauty is that we all become passionate about helping, and that's all we're doing. We're just helping each other with our stories. And that's why owning my story encourages others. And, you know, the story that brought me to Isogenics was Barry's story. He lost over 200 pounds. And I knew from that story that I could do it. And that's the key, is that, you know, we're all one light, and it's that one candle. I connected up to a candle that's not lit. It doesn't take anything away from my candle. It helps me light someone else's candle. And that's really all we're doing, is we're just taking our heat and we're connecting it so that they get hot about getting healthy. Yeah. And I love it. So thank you again, Chris. I can't believe the idea is now here. So it's beautiful. Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, well, thank you again.
Woohoo! I'm always on the sideline of watching what you do, Chris, and so it's just so fun. But to see the amount of work and love and attention that you put into the groups and everything that you're passionate about for everybody behind the scenes, I'm lucky enough to get to see it in front of the scenes and to see. So it's amazing, and keep doing it.
Thank you. Thank you for all the support. Saying, well, go ahead. If you think we should do it, go ahead and do it. Go ahead and do it. And then month after month, we should do a group. Go ahead and do it. Well, we finally did. So, okay. So the last thing I want to say again, you know, if anybody is on the call that is not, you know, currently part of Isogenics, using Isogenics products, if that is, you know, we will continue to talk about the products. If it's something that you want to know more about, please, you know, do go back to the person that invited you to the call and talk to them, because there's a ton of information, and you can see from how many people in the group have stories, you know, having success stories from Isogenics products. They're incredible. The company changes your life, period. I always say that the weight loss and getting healthy is like this little side benefit that happens in the course of changing your life. At least that's been for me. And that's, you know, according to a lot of conversations that I've had with people, it just works. It's just good nutrition and your body thrives on it. And so I would encourage anybody, you know, to go back to the person that invited you, and, you know, ask for more information. If you, you know, like I said, if you're just here, we hope you come back, whether you're interested in Isogenics or not. So again, thank you to everybody that jumped on the call, and super grateful. It looks like we've got people from around the world. So Deborah, thank you for dialing in from Australia. Amazing. So we'll follow up with you for sure. But okay, so the next call, you guys, will not be next Wednesday. It will be the Wednesday after. And, you know, same time, probably same Zoom number, but we'll make sure that we have that posted in the group. And just please continue to post, continue to invite more people to the group, you know, that, and even people that, you know, may not deal with these issues directly. There's a lot of people within Isogenics that are trying their best to coach people that are, you know, 100, 200, 300 pounds overweight, or that have had some type of bariatric surgery, and they just don't know what to do. And it's like, God love them. How would they know? Right. But like, that's what we're here to do, is talk about, like, no, I've been through this. I've used the products, had the surgery, like, let me help you and show you what helped me. It might not be what the doctor says. And you've seen the disclaimer. We can't go out there and, you know, if your doctor tells you one thing, we can't go against that. But we have some people in this group that have, you know, had firsthand experience with using these products. So hopefully that's a blessing to people as well. So thank you so much, everybody. Continue to post, and hopefully we'll see you all in 2 weeks, and we'll have double the amount of people, because everybody went out and invited somebody else to join them. So love you all, and talk to you in a couple weeks. And we'll post the recording in the group. All right. All right. Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. I don't know how to turn it off.